but maybe let's start with Solana. I know that's been a hot topic, maybe to loosen up the mood a little bit here. So Solana went down again. I don't know, what number is this? Let's see if Active is in here. Maybe she wants to come up and let us know.
Maybe they'll have rock bottom soon enough.
Do you guys still count, or at this point it's like, why even count? Like, it's like, I mean, like past number 5, it's like, why count? Like, it happens.
A lot of
And
to be fair, you had a number.
And to be fair, real quick, let me finish real quick. To be fair, it's been a while since there was one that happened, right? 6 months or 7 months like that.
So what happened? Active, I see you're up here. Why did Solana go down again?
Good question. I don't know all the technical details, but I do believe it was a validator node issue.
So somebody didn't update their node?
That's a very basic understanding of, what I saw on my timeline.
Let me just go really quick before I lose my train of thought. If that is the case, like, I know that's bad, but isn't that good in a way that, there's not one person that can flip the switch? It has to be, a group of validators that restart their nodes and are in consensus.
If what I'm saying is accurate, yes, that would be correct. I think I know they were planning on putting out a report, like Solana Foundation has a Twitter account. They usually, or Solana themselves, but I'm wondering if they put something out. I don't know if anyone looked, but I'm going to check it out. They were planning on, releasing some sort of a post-mortem.
Go ahead, Down.
Yeah, how long was it down? Was it like a few hours or more?
Like
a good 12, right?
Yeah, like 12 or 16, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was, from what I heard yesterday, I was looking at it, it was almost 20, actually. But then it didn't feel like 20 hours.
I didn't even know it went down. This is all news to me right now.
Don't feel bad, Nico. I think it was over the weekend, right? They took the weekend off. The Solana store closed. I don't know if we talked about that last week, but yeah, the Miami store and the New York store. I mean, that Miami store in Wynwood, that's like prime real estate. So I can't even imagine how many tens of thousands of dollars they were paying for that location.
And they weren't under Solana themselves. This was, like I said before, on, just a user or a participant, whatever you want to call them. Like, it wasn't under Solana themselves. It was someone who started literally just a startup.
Do you have any idea how much the Hudson Yards property probably is? Like, first of all, they were selling apartments there for $5,000 a square foot, like before the buildings even went up. So I don't even want to know how much the commercial property was to rent. But
you know what? I don't care. That's called balls, because I have not seen another chain say, "Hey, we're going to open up a store." So I'm liking what they were doing. They tried it. Maybe in the future it'll be better, but you got to give it up to them.
This is very, very bad news at this point. Like, very, very, very. And then it went down for 20 hours right after they closed the stores. I mean, I don't know what to say here.
No, that had nothing to do with it, bro.
Totally unrelated.
Yeah, but
it was after the Degods video that Solana went down, apparently.
But this looks really bad. You know what I'm saying here? Like, this looks horrible.
Daniel, I see you came up. You're ready to FUD Solana. What was your question? Why is Solana mainnet beta? Is his question.
What was the question?
You asked a question. You said, why is it called Solana mainnet beta?
Oh, yeah. I was just reading the report now because I didn't know what the hell is going on. And
I mean, they are in beta. It is supposed to be quote unquote beta.
It's beta? So the Solana's beta?
Yeah, it's mainnet beta, yeah.
Do you think it's more of a, kind of a way of saying it?
If it goes down, it's beta.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't know, guys. Like, you can't just, come into Solana, but I don't know. It's like a way of deflecting. Anyways, this beta, right? I guess. Oh, to everyone here, it's like how many people? 400 people here? 200 people? Solana's in beta. What the fuck?
Let's go. What do you have against it, DeFi, Daniel? Is it because it's fast when it works? I don't know.
He only likes to pay $10 or more in transaction gas fees. That's why.
Daniel's bougie like that.
Where do I even start with Solana? Seriously.
I got a question. So
Daniel, you have a punk, huh?
I have a what?
A punk.
Yeah, it's a check mark punk.
What about the original? Do you have the
Don't
original?
be showing your punks here.
when Solana goes
He's just trying
down,
to roast him.
does that mean that you can't use it at all, or what does that mean when Solana go down?
Exactly.
There's no transactions going through the network.
Hey Jess, are you still a Solana person?
I'm a blockchain enthusiast. I'm not a maxi of anything.
I like that.
Okay. Yeah, when Solana goes down, yeah, I can't use it at all.
Yeah, you can't use it at all. Yeah, just how you couldn't use ETH during the other side mint. But yeah, speaking about ETH, let's start with a little bit of ETH FUD, and then we can talk about account abstraction, which I know you guys are all super excited for. But ETH withdrawal stakings have been delayed yet again. Shocked or not shocked? So you will not. It's been pushed back to probably mid-April. No set date has been set. No date has been set yet.
I think
everybody
used to ETH like transition. Everything's been pushed back because we had to wait for the merge for like almost 10 years.
Yeah, I think a couple of weeks is not the end of the world, right? Like when people were staking, they knew that the merge would not right away allow them to withdraw, so they understood that. And actually, to be fair, in the conversation amongst the developers, they actually wanted to have that withdrawal a little bit later because they wanted to pack it with another update, which is to optimize performances for layer ones. So when the market came back and, a lot of people were creating FUD around the idea that you could not withdraw, and that was a surprise to a lot of people, they prioritized that. And a lot of developers were angry because they found that optimizing the mainnet for layer 2 was actually more priority than withdrawal because people knew that, there wasn't a set date. So yeah, if it was like 2 months later, then it'd be a big deal. And if they postpone it again, that I would agree it's a big deal. But it was supposed to be in March. It's going to happen in April. Yeah, it's not a good thing, but I don't think it's like a big burger.
Yeah, you've already waited 2 years. What's another 2 months, right? Or another month, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, like people don't read the prints, I guess, or don't too lazy, right? Like there's no time to read. Just want to stake it and get my APY. It's all in there. It was there since the beginning. Like there's no date, no date, and they could push the dates out and.
Bro, come on, Ethereum
Really
did the same
centralized.
thing. Yeah. Ethereum did the same exact thing. Come on, man. Like, all right, let's.
I'm talking about Ethereum, dude.
We're talking about the stakers, Nico. Like, if you're staking directly, you have 32 ETH and you say, I want to stake and participate in a new beacon chain, there was no set date as to when you'd be able to withdraw, and that was clear because the merge did not include the withdrawal capacity, right? So they said that we think the merge is going to happen. Hold on. They said that we think the merge is going to happen at this set date, and after that, we'll focus on a fork to have the withdrawal. But there was no set date. You just believed in the project and you wanted to earn, which they're still earning, some ETH.
I think they're just going to release them because they know they're going to transfer them to Solana's.
And there was another spaces, I think it was last week, maybe this week, early this week. Is they went over this, right? Over unstaking your ETH and all that kind of stuff. And there was a dude, I can't remember, probably just need to go back, but I think I saw some of you guys in there. Dow for sure. I think I saw you there. The guy explained like there's like even limitations to withdrawing, right? Like what was it? I don't know. There was something about like you can't just like unstake, a million Ethereums in one block, right? There's something about it, and it makes sense. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I'm like, yeah, it sounds about right. And I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. So I'm like, so if you're like, if you fear that, if you fear Ethereum is going to go to zero because of staking, I will do what I am doing right now. Just put some purchase orders at $0.01 per Ethereum and see if you get lucky.
Oh my God, you wish.
Why not? Why not? Just it's like
So do
lucky.
I.
Yeah,
So do
it's
I.
gonna be a big dump. Just put $1 per Ethereum.
For me, it would be Bitcoin, not Ethereum. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bitcoin doesn't have
yeah.
that pressure coming in, right? But Ethereum does, allegedly. So just put $100, $1 per Ethereum, and maybe you get lucky, you get $100 the next morning, or 100 Ethereum the next morning, and then you can thank me later.
Do you think there's people itching to get that out to put it in other places, or what's your sentiment around? I mean, I don't think people are going to dump, but like, okay, I can stake it, unstake it. Now what?
Yeah. So there will be a big portion of people that are probably gonna just go somewhere else. To be honest.
Yeah, but also let's add that there's Coinbase, there's Lido, there's Rocket Pool, who are the major stakers, right? They probably own between themselves like half of all the staking, and those type of actors thinking long term. So I'm not saying that I like that there's so many of those corporations that own so much stake ETH, but yeah, the small actors might be willing to sell because they've been waiting for so many years, but the majority of creating this secondary tokens, those LSDs like the stake ETH, the RETH and stuff like that, and they're actually very popular. So I think those service providers are not going to unstake, and that's half of the stakers. So
I think on the opposite side too, like I think the fact that there is going to be an unstaking mechanism, and when you're going to be able to take it out, like it'll also incentivize people to actually stake their ETH now. Like I'm not one who's been willing to lock up my ETH for whenever, the ETH Foundation wants to the devs want to release it. Like, no, but once the unstaking happens, maybe I'll consider it.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. So I'm in the same camp, even though, you call me Ethereum Maxi. I have not created any nodes.
Wow.
I'm not running any nodes because why, right? Like I'm not selling it. The APY is okay, but no, until there is a mechanism for me to withdraw at any time, I'm not creating any nodes. But once that happens, I will 100% sure create some nodes. So there's a lot of people like myself, and Jazz included, I suppose, waiting for that to happen. Messari, they have a document. It was a few months ago, talking about this subject, and they had I think it was like 30%, 20%, 25% of the stakers were like common plebs, I suppose. So so if you think about like what Dow was mentioning, why will Coinbase and all these like bigger stakers kind of make some self wounds? They're not gonna dump it because they're in the ecosystem for the long run. They're investing in the ecosystem, so they're not gonna do that. But the 25% the Messari was like claiming to have from small people, those are probably gonna move, right? Some of those will probably move because they just went full circle. Now it'll be pretty dumb to sell now, right? Because you're basically at this point in the market, you're changing risk for risk, right? You don't know what's happening to any other token, right? So if you're changing Ethereum for Solana or for BNB or for even Bitcoin, you're basically just moving your risk from one place to another place of risk. You're not doing much. So yeah. Anyway.
Great.
Also, you got to remember that ETH being deflationary is brand new, and that affecting price point is also a new standard that people aren't really going to factor in and aren't able to because the numbers weren't ever there. But now that it is deflationary, we'll be able to see, even if it does crash, that the price just goes up. But that's not. I'm not saying that's a definitive. I'm just saying it can go down too. But I'm just saying, like we don't actually know what's going to happen. But for the most part, I think in the macro terms, I'm bullish. In the micro terms, I'm going to be in and out of the market just constantly, and that changes day to day.
Thanks, Joey. Nico, go ahead, and then Blade.
Yeah, I seriously think there's going to be a lot of things happening here. First of all, I don't think anybody's going to shut down nodes, but they accumulated a lot of ETH, the people that have the nodes. So I'm sure they're going to be selling the ETH some of the ETH or like the majority of the ETH that they accumulated. That's pretty much the issue here. That there's a lot of people that have been in there and they're at astronomical profits. It's not an issue. It's more like I don't blame them either. As long as they don't shut down the nodes, there's a lot of things happening here. So, and I also agree with what you said, Jess. Now, because you can pull in and out and do whatever you want. Yeah, but the whole thing is, my only issue is that if anything happens, that you get slashed. And 32 ETH is a lot of money to get slashed on, especially if ETH is going for like 3 or 4 grand. That's a lot of money. So. That's the where I stand with this.
Thanks for sharing. Go ahead, Blake.
Yeah, I just want to know: is it possible to like transfer stake ETH or use it as collateral?
Somebody want to answer that? I know some exchanges do let you take out like a synthetic version. There used to be like a Coinbase.
Yeah, I did it actually before the merge. I unstaked everything, and but I don't know if they're still doing it.
So you got it right, Jess. It's just if like central exchanges do it, but it's always on their terms. So if something were to happen to them, you don't have your money.
I mean, exchange it. Like, let's say if I want to trade it with Jess, or if I want to use the collateral as to take out a loan so I can get cash.
You can.
Do you know? Can we do? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can unstake it, and they'll give you the whatever it is, ST ETH or whatever. If that was a totally random, and then you can do something with it after that. Convert it to fiat or whatever you want to do.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do like financed or like lending directly from your staked ETH. I'm not sure, but I'll defer that to anybody else.
Didn't Coinbase just implement some new borrowing and lending? I haven't delved into it.
I know Ledger has
ringing a bell.
It's strictly up to the exchanges that you keep your money with. But that's why, I don't know if you saw Binance, they just released a statement that said they do not see a future in central exchanges. But that's kind of weird that they made that statement.
The central exchanges are going to be the banks. The banks are fucking attacking us right now, but that's another rabbit hole you want to go down right now, probably.
Yeah, we'll talk about banks and Silvergate in a little bit, but let's talk about account abstraction. I know that was a huge announcement in ETH Denver this week. So basically, it's a new ERC. It's a new standard. We all know some people are fans of standards. Some people are not. So it's a new ERC 4337 standard. They also call it a smart account because I know the term account abstraction is kind of confusing. Who wants to give a rundown of what account abstraction actually means?
I'll go. So initially, the idea is that it's going to be a fork, right? It's like an upgrade of the actual Ethereum network. But someone just made a surprise announcement at ETH Denver that they actually have it implemented as a smart contract. So what that means is that they're still going to go ahead with the update at some point in the future. But meanwhile, there is a standard that wallet providers can comply to, right? It's going to be like the same set of the standard of methods that is expected for account abstraction. And what that means to the end user is that instead of having to sign your transaction not knowing what you're signing into, you have clear information. Instead of having to sign 2, 3, 4, 5 times for just a complex transaction, it'll be reduced just to one transaction. Instead of having to accept that a protocol has access to certain permission against your private key, you can create sessions, and then your permissions are only valid for 24 hours. The overall idea of account abstraction is to make the wallet easy to use, almost like a Web2 wallet. When you log into Facebook, you have like biometrics that you can add, all kinds of security measures that you can add that are more user-friendly, and that's what account abstraction is trying to do. So yeah, that's a cool thing. I don't know if it's going to get adopted as a smart contract, but on layer 2s, especially in ZK rollups, that's actually like a big feature. And people are assuming that for game, if you're a game player, you don't really want to deal with, a wallet like MetaMask. So there's an integration with Unity actually just happened this week. And the idea is to make the wallet experience a lot smoother for people who are not like us, like nerds who care about those type of things.
Yeah, just to add to that, that's a great description. Thank you. Aside from having to do the constant approval of transactions, you also have the option, like recovery wallet, like a social recovery. And then the smart accounts, I'm going to call them smart accounts, can also be configured for auto pay and like monthly subscription types of things. And the reason it's called, which like the term is confusing, because the accounts are actually abstracted from the network, not from the user, which I think everybody thinks account abstraction and thinks that people are abstracting the account. One piece of FUD that I did see, actually, let me rephrase that back to what you were saying. Since they didn't do the hard fork, this is only going to apply for new wallets that are created under this standard. And then possibly in the future, they would need to do a hard fork for all the old wallets to have this ERC 4337 standard. But one piece of FUD that I did see is that this does require a lot of a lot of gas to use these smart accounts. So although you're just signing one transaction, that transaction does require a lot of gas, and they are looking at ways at reducing the gas for that. So go ahead, Nico, and then DeFi Daniel.
So it's pretty much a smart contract on training wheels. It's a wallet on trading wheels for people. That's what it is. And the problem that I have is exactly what you said. The fact that they're trying to implement this into the old wallets. I would rather be able to have two different wallets. It depends on how these new wallets are going to be made. If there's private keys or not. Like, do you have a 12-word seed phrase still? Depends on how they're made. But I think people should still use the old wallets. I don't see this as a bad thing. I just see it as something that people are going to have to get educated, and the majority of people are going to go to the new kinds of wallets. And it's I just don't want to lose the old. I hope people are getting what I'm trying to say here. Like, we still are going to have to still use the old types of wallets, and I hope that they're interoperable from one to the next, at least with the private keys. I'm kind of worried that we're going to lose the private key capabilities in this next layer.
And maybe somebody can clarify this, just something else that I read, because smart accounts enable the cryptographic keys to be stored on the phone's hardware security model. So phone wallets can be almost as safe as hardware wallet. Again, I don't know about that last statement, but it is a hot wallet, and there is going to be some type of interaction with your phone that you're going to be able to use like your Android or your Apple password to kind of access the wallet keys or something like that. Somebody clarify me on what I said.
I think that sounds right. And very quickly, on iPhone, you have something called the enclave that has never been hacked. So it's as safe as a gate, right? Even the CIA has asked Apple to unlock it for some kind of terrorist act, and Apple was like, nah, we can't do that because otherwise, like, no one will buy an iPhone ever again. So there's a piece of software that no one can hack. Only you have it. Only you have access to it. Apple doesn't even have access to it.
I just want to see what happens with the private key capabilities. That's it. Because the whole thing that I'm trying to say here is I want to be able to, like, it has to be in a way where I can use the private keys in an old style wallet and a new wallet. Because if they cut off the old style wallet, that's where there's a problem here.
Well, there would need to be a fork, so that's not going to happen for a long time. So the ERC 4337 only applies to new wallets. There would need to be a hard fork. And another thing, just to point out, that this ERC standard, it's EVM compatible. So this functionality is not just specific to Ethereum. So it's also could be used on any other EVM compatible blockchain. So BNB, Avalanche, and you know, down the line. So just wanted to add that. Go ahead, Daniel. Daniel, are you there? Okay. He might not be there, but yeah, that's, anybody else had anything else to chime in about account abstraction?
Hello. Yeah, just quickly, I'm not too privy on the subject, but I just want to say, if it is a case of it becomes like embedded in the hardware, it might be similar to how the Loopring wallet is set up, where you have a layer 1 wallet and you do have access, you can extract your private keys for that. And then you do have a layer 2 wallet integrated into that same app. So it could be a case of that, perhaps.
Exactly. Thank you, Lumon.
That's kind of what I understood, Looper, like on some of these layer 2s and ZK rollups, like this is the default functionality. And then on the main layer, it's going to be these new wallets, and then there's still going to be kind of like the old wallets hanging around.
Of course. Just to add to that, all layer 2 is for Loopring. I assume it is for all these other coins as well, or cryptos. It's all it is a smart contract deployed on layer 1. So essentially, you can't have layer 2 without the layer 1 element, and I assume that's going to be the same for layer 3. It's going to be the same. You can't have it without layer 1.
Modularity and abstraction. Let's go.
Yeah, and just another thing that I wanted to add, if there are any devs here, the Ethereum Foundation is offering $300K in grants to support account abstraction. So I pinned that to the top. Make sure to check it out. So definitely that was like big news this week. And then, yeah, I didn't read too much about the social or the wallet recovery aspect, but that's also like pretty cool. You can put limits on how much spending can happen in a day on your wallet. You can do a wallet recovery. So if X and X happens, transfer my funds to X wallet. So it's like a smart contract capabilities within your wallet, which is pretty cool, which is why they're trying to coin the term smart accounts instead of account abstraction. Daniel, are you back, or you still have your hand up from before?
Yeah, sorry about that. I don't know what I'm doing, so I'm gonna mute myself.
But yeah, that was one of the announcements at ETH Denver. That's going to be interesting to see how to play out. And from what I saw, Vitalik has been working on this for a while now. So this has been something that's been worked in a while, and they didn't want a hard fork, which is why it's only going to be for new wallets. But yeah. What else? Let's see. So the other thing that was going around was Silvergate. I didn't read too much into that. I know, Tammy, you had that on your notes. I don't know if you wanted to touch on that, or let's see what happens. All I heard is that Silvergate was down a bunch and cutting ties with everybody.
Yeah, let me pull up my notes that I sent. Sorry, I was away from my phone. Yes. So coin ties with Silvergate Bank, and apparently they're saying, I forget how they worded it, and somebody can jump in if they want, but that their cap is unstable, or I forget how they worded it, but Coinbase ties with them, and that was after the SEC and the announcement of JP Morgan downgrading the company's shares from neutral to underweight. And then Coinbase said that they're not accepting or initiating payments to or from Silvergate, and then Ledger X, who was tied to FTX, they have informed their customers they're no longer working with Silvergate as well. So they're going with another bank that's crypto-friendly, Signature Bank. So anybody that wants to add, I know that it was just word from Silvergate that they're not as stable, I guess, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, their shares were down a whole lot. And I heard crypto.com as well. But how does that affect? I don't think that affects like the day-to-day user. Like I've still been depositing funds and, buying crypto. I haven't seen any issues. So is this just, and I don't know if anybody knows, but is this more like just wire transfers and things like that versus just like, ACH deposits? I don't even know what Silvergate is.
Yeah,
That's
it's
my
more like
understanding of it.
yeah, my understanding is it's more like back end operation. So if you Coinbase, you have to have banks that provide you those services. You say for wires and ACH, but they're not relying on one bank. So if one bank goes down, they have three or four. The issue in the context is that there's this thing called Operation Choke Point, and it seems like there's a concerted effort for all the three other agencies of the United States to choke crypto, right, and to make banks be not as friendly as they used to be, or the few banks that were friendly, to make them aware that there's going to be some consequences for providing service to the crypto industry. And the overall sentiment is that the regulators don't have a way to actually create rules, so they're going to enforce rather than create rules, right? And the SEC is basically the hedge of the spear that's trying to like go after crypto, but through basically creating issues with banks and tell them don't do anything with crypto. The idea is they can actually impact the industry.
So,
Right.
but
And I,
the SEC changed some regulations for them tax-wise, and they had to redo their 10Ks. This actually happened with a couple of other miners. Like, this is spread a little wide on what people are talking about. So, because this happened with Riot, Mara, and Silvergate. This is with a lot. I think this is with anybody that's registered, the way they're registered. So I believe they were running an ETF as well. So it's actually much more different than what people think it is. I think this has to do with Ethereum as well. So because Gary Gensler is actually, Dal, you're not wrong about the choke point, but I'm hearing it's about a lot of businesses. It's not just crypto, because they're trying to bring down inflation. Apparently, it's running way too hot, and there's a lot of things going on. It's not just the crypto market. It's a lot.
Great point, Nico. Let's go to Tam. Wait, Tammy wanted to chime in, and then we'll go to Ahmed. And I see Frank came up. I'd love to get his thoughts about what's going on in crypto. Go ahead, Tammy.
I was just going to say, I know I brought this up in another space too, that I've seen this happen numerous times with different industries. From the banking industry, they do get a little strong-armed when it comes to certain places that they choose to do business with. So it happened in the weed industry, it happened in the firearms industry. So they get strong-armed into not being able to do business with certain entities or certain companies just because of what they actually do. So I'm not to see this. I Nico's point and then Dow's point as well. I think that this is just falls in line with what I've seen happen year over year with different entities and different businesses.
Great points. Ahmed, what's up? Good morning.
GM, lovely people. Sorry in advance, I'm a bit congested, fighting a cold. But I guess to answer your question, you had a question about what Silvergate is. It's basically amongst the very popular US dollar banking providers for the crypto industry. And second to that, I think the concerns in general are more on the liquidity side, and with recent events that have been ongoing in the markets throughout the year, both equity and crypto, it's, illiquidity can cause obviously a dent in the market. I will bring up something that's very unpopular, but if you guys do yourself a favor and fact check this, but look at Nubank. So Nubank is a Warren Buffett backed, or among he has the largest shares in the bank. It's a Brazilian-based bank that's quite similar to Silvergate. They faced similar concerns back in November, and it was just a blip on the map. My point is that macroeconomic side of things for the cryptocurrency world hasn't changed. We're still in the same quote unquote market that we've been in for the past probably now year and a bit. And if you zoom out on that, graph, BTC, ETH, whatever you want to look at, like markets are trending upwards for us right now. I think fundamentally, like I said, based with macroeconomic side of things, nothing has really changed for us to kind of, start to worry and run back and forth and yell at each other. I think this is just one more, what's the word I'm looking for? Breaking news article that's just going to disappear in the next couple of weeks. And that's my take.
Great point.
Did you guys hear the rumor about CZ this morning? There was some FUD going on in WhatsApp that he had gotten raided by like the FBI or something like that, like crazy stuff. But yeah, crazy FUD going around. But Frank, what's going on? Thanks for coming by.
Hey, what's up? I'm drinking coffee right now, so I figured I'd hop in on crypto and coffee.
All right. Question. What type of coffee are you drinking? This is make or break.
I don't know. I'm in Denver, and so just got like black coffee from wherever.
Black coffee's good. Now that's good. That's a good start.
What would be your go-to though, Frank? What would be your
pumpkin spice latte for sure?
Oh my god!
Oh no, Frank, no!
Was that a joke?
Get back!
No, I like that.
People with no taste and culture in this chat right now. It's all good.
I agree with that. No, that's good. It's good for the hormones too.
But Frank,
it makes me feel really in touch with my feminine side, and you need that every so often.
You need.
I'm so glad PSL season is over, and I'm not looking forward to it. But yeah, aside from regulations and bad talk, tell us what are the vibes at ETH Denver? Like, tell us good vibes. Like, what are you seeing over there?
Oh, it's fucking horrible, dude. Everyone is crying. No, it's good, man. I mean, honestly, way more people than I thought. It's like the fucking logo is a spork, and it's kind of like the designs on a lot of the graphics for the events are kind of mid. But, dude, a lot of people, man. It's pretty packed.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I guess people are like excited about crypto and NFTs and stuff still, which is wild. Would not have expected that. So good to see.
Were you at the comedy show that bombed? Did you see those videos?
Wait, so you're saying the bottom's not in yet?
I definitely was not at that comedy show, but I'm glad, someone took the cringe mantle for the week. It's not the Degods party now, so they're just grateful for Ethereum, the gift that just keeps giving. Thank you guys so much. Shout out to the comedy show. Really appreciate it.
Is that the one of them singing the song? Was that a comedy show? Is that what that was?
I think so, yes.
Okay, now that makes more sense now. Okay, I thought that was a legit song for a second.
I mean, at this point, they should make it one, honestly. It's going viral. Where's the ETH Denver TikTok page is my question.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, since you're here as well, just another thing to bring up. I was looking at the daily active users for last week, and Bitcoin actually passed daily active users over Ethereum if you exclude Polygon, which I consider it separately. And I know you guys inscribed on Bitcoin. So what do you think about, now Yuga Labs and all these big projects following suit and what you guys did?
No, yeah, I'm really happy to welcome Yuga to Bitcoin. Hey, guys, what's up? Good to see you here. No, I'm excited for the Yuga mint because we inscribed it pretty early, and so we're just going to wait, see how it goes, and learn from whatever they do well or not well. So pretty excited for that, and it's getting a lot of people really pumped. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, Bitcoin, here's my thing about Bitcoin NFTs, right? You don't need to get FOMO. You don't need to ape in today or tomorrow, but Bitcoin is going to get bigger. If Bitcoin does not get bigger, we're all fucked. Crypto and coffee is fucked. Everyone in this industry is fucked. If Bitcoin doesn't keep getting bigger, it drives this market in a really deep way. And so Bitcoin is going to get bigger. And so I think over time, it's a no-brainer that people are going to want Bitcoin inscriptions. And the important thing is inscriptions are just different than regular NFTs. It's just like a different type of thing. And I think that's going to lead to a different market. And if I'm a brand, or if I'm like, trying to do actually like just pure luxury art, I think that Bitcoin will be the place to do it. And I think that my controversial thesis is at the end of this year, all the highest sales on NFTs will have been denominated and be in Bitcoin. So that's what I think. I don't think it's going to grow in terms of like user base, stuff like that larger, or daily active users larger than Ethereum over time. Like, I think there's way too much stuff that you can do with smart contracts you can't do with Bitcoin. But I would not fade. Well, I would not just like dunk on Bitcoin NFTs or just retweet the guy that's like, oh, now ordinals are dead. It's been like 2 days. Nobody's talked about it. Of course they're dead. It's like, bro, it's been 3 weeks. They have a wallet. They have like 20 marketplaces. Like, remember how long it took Ethereum to get a lot of the infrastructure up and running? I mean, it's moving really fast on Bitcoin. So just pay attention.
I have one more question for you, because I met you, I think it was in a Bitcoin Maxi room. It was in Brian's room, who's now like an NFT influencer. You used to be a Bitcoin Maxi. Would you
think he flipped from that space, don't you think? It must have been.
My God, he flipped so hard. I don't know if he's here, but he usually comes in here. But would you have ever thought that NFTs on Bitcoin would have taken off, like, or inscriptions on Bitcoin would have taken off how they are, like, with your background?
So this is like deep alpha. I've never said this on a space before, but I'll start with this. I've talked about this before. I used to be a Bitcoin maxi. Like, that's how I got into this space. Is I was actually a deep Bitcoin maxi, which is why when I talk to Bitcoin maxis, it's funny because I know all of the things they use to dunk on shitcoiners, and so I'm always just like referencing that before they do it. Like 8 Mile, it's pretty fun. But long story short, dude, the Bitcoin community is not to be faded. I learned a lot of what we do with Degods and Utes today. It actually is pretty much ripped from the Bitcoin community. What I mean by this is there are 24/7 spaces going on about Bitcoin. There's literally like thousands of local meetups every year, like thousands upon thousands of local meetups strictly just around Bitcoin every year. They have their own marketplaces, their own exchanges. Like, they are running different as a community, and they're a religion at this point. And to me, this is like what NFT projects to a certain degree should aspire to become, you know, on a bigger or smaller scale, where you have this really diehard community that really believes in everything that you're doing. And so I think that the Bitcoin NFTs today, I don't think that they've found that perfect product market fit. But man, once it starts to like click with a lot of these maxis, it's going to be like a force that us ETH, Solana MFers are not ready for, because these guys already have the community and it's deep and it runs strong. And so, man, if they start really figuring out NFTs, it's no joke. It could be a big deal. And yeah, so I'm not shocked to see it at all. I honestly do think I want to talk to Brian, because I feel like we went so back and forth on that space. There's like, we debated for like 3-4 hours, and to hear, I didn't know that he's an NFT guy now, but man, I got to take some credit for that one. I feel like I have a way with flipping Bitcoin maxis into becoming JPEG maxis, but we'll see. I got to talk to Brian.
He's like the #2 Bitcoin NFT influencer. Like, seriously, he shares so much knowledge about it. So if he's here, I'll try to message him. He's usually here. But
you
yeah,
know what it is? It's the guys that like, so there's like 2 parts of Bitcoin maxis. There's like people that are strictly just religious about Bitcoin, like Satoshi is Jesus, and they are very principled and they will never buy anything that's not just Bitcoin. They won't do NFTs. But there's a lot of other people in the Bitcoin maxi community that believe that Bitcoin is the best investment asset. And those guys are feeling really jaded because they just watched Monkey JPEGs outperform their Bitcoin, you know, for 2 years in a row at like hundreds of, thousands X multiples compared to Bitcoin. And so those guys are the ones that are going to flip into Bitcoin NFTs, because they got into it and they were sold the story that, hey, it's the bull market, Bitcoin's going to outperform all these other assets. And that's just not what happened. And so a lot of those guys, myself included, that did get into Bitcoin for the bag because we thought this would be a good place to park a lot of our money, those guys are jaded. And I was jaded too by the narratives that were propagated by Bitcoin maxis. And so I think those guys are going to be the ones that get into, Bitcoin NFTs. And I think those guys are really smart and sharp people. So it's going to be exciting to see.
So hey, Frank.
It's all because of... Go ahead, Tammy. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Nico. I was just going to ask, when you gave a shout out to Yuga, were you talking about 12-fold?
Of course, yeah. That was good to see. We obviously didn't know if Yuga would come in. When we got on there, it was good to see, the big boys coming in. Welcome to Bitcoin, guys.
Late welcome, but yeah, they're here. Wait, Nico, let's get to the hands and then we'll circle back. Ahmed and then, or Leo and then Ahmed.
Frank, I got a question. I'll put you on the spot. It's for my youth. I got 130,000 points. Are we gonna be able to do anything with those points? Because I definitely want to fucking Degod for real. And yeah, I mean, I gotta figure out a way to be able to absorb the impact, and hopefully these fucking points can help. I'm just asking you a question, bro.
But yes, you will. I can't confirm if it's going to be used for the Bitcoin Degods. I doubt it. To be honest, like just to set expectations. But I think what we're going to do is announce the first NFT that you can mint with points, pretty much right after the bridge. And I've talked about this before, but maybe not like this clearly about it. But yeah, it's like everyone's fading points. Like Frank went points, whatever. It's like, okay, dude, you're gonna mint a banger NFT with it, and I think people are gonna be hyped. So it's that simple, right? Obviously, we're gonna do other things with points, but I feel like for the degens that are like, yo, Frank, but what's really going on here? What are we really about to do with these points? Like, yeah, we'll probably have some hoodies and we'll do some cool shit with it, but nah, bro, we're gonna do fire NFTs you can mint with the points. It's just a smarter way to do airdrops, right? Where you just reward people that are the most loyal over time, with the airdrop in a priority fashion. So you're not diluting the entire supply by doing like an airdrop that's to everybody. So you just like, it's a smarter way, in my opinion, and something everyone's gonna adopt in the future of just allocating rewards to your community is how I think about it. So, dude, 130K, let's go. You're in that top 1%, baby. Let's fucking go.
Oh yeah, and the last one was fuck, I just got fucking brain fart.
Leo, you were going to ask if there's going to be a DeGod derivative.
No. Fuck, no, he already killed it. It was that other fucking project. He went slinging lawyers everywhere. He lawyered up in crypto. That shit was funny, and they changed the name. But no, that was great. Damn, what's the other one? Oh, the platform. Because when people ask me about youths and stuff like that, if you're okay, just can I ask one last question?
I'll let Frank answer that if he wants.
Well, I didn't understand the question.
No, I haven't asked it yet. I was just, if it's okay to ask one last question.
That's the question.
Is that the last question?
Yeah, that's the last question. On your platform, I know you have mentioned in spaces and stuff like that, because people ask me about, getting into youths and stuff. I don't want to answer the wrong thing. I know you say you're going to do a platform. It's going to be a launch pad, right? And it's going to enable other NFT projects to launch off of it, or am I wrong on that?
I think there's a lot of speculation around this. Just let me do an official announcement around it in the next few weeks, so that way there's not a lot of confusion. Because if I say it now in the spaces, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So yeah, but you're on the right track.
Trying to get that alpha. Go ahead, Ahmed, and then I wanted to chime in really quick.
One thing that I think Frank nailed on the head is where luxury NFTs and luxury art will be, very big on BTC ordinals and whatnot as a whole. I think that, in most use cases, and as we inch closer to, large onboardings and whatnot, BTC for a lot of people has been like a store of value and et cetera, et cetera. And that's like one of the biggest arguments with ETH versus ordinal NFTs. I definitely kind of would co-sign that as well, where I can see substantial value NFTs and or luxury art being very, very, very big on the BTC network.
That's a great point. So Frank, yeah, I got to keep it 100 because, there was a lot of controversy on the timeline last week. I've been outspoken at times about, the Degods and youth community, but I guess to bring it in a more positive light and just like a backdrop, like I would not consider myself one to be like, yay, everything has to be, women in Web3 type of shit, because I actually don't like doing that. I like to have, just we're having a conversation and it is what it is. It doesn't matter whether you're a woman, a man, a frog, I don't care. But what do you think as a leader in this space? Because obviously there are, women in Web3. There are women here. And I get kind of that narrative upsets me that says like, oh, there's no women in Web3. Yeah, we are here. So what do you think as a leader in the space you could do to maybe improve that narrative that is like kind of swirling around your community?
Dude, so it's 9:51 a.m. and I'm about to get canceled. Let's see what happens. All right, I'm just gonna speak honestly here. So, okay, there's two things I want to cover. One, when we're going viral and there's a video of 2-minute excerpt of like a 6-hour party, it's like I could have responded and said there was actually like more girls at the Degods event than I saw at a lot of other events that I went to in NFT Paris, but that would have meant I just lose, right? I'm just going to take the L on Twitter because if I said that, then people will be fucking starting to do calculations. Then I'd have to go fucking screenshot every clip that I have of a girl at the party. It's like, that's a losing battle, right? So might as well just embrace the narrative. But no, I mean, I made a video, and the thing is, I made a video with all the footage I had, and I actually like didn't include a lot of clips of girls that we had in the recording because I felt like it would be pandering, of like, okay, we got all this fun about there's no girls, and it's like every clip has a girl in it. That would not be good either. But that actually brings me to my main point, where this is something that I've talked about for a while now, where I know, I mean, my girlfriend I met on crypto Twitter, and I know a lot of girls in this space, and I feel like a lot of the strong women in the space don't want to be pandered to, right? It's like the joke is, everybody wants their bags to go up, whether you're a guy, girl, whatever you are. It's like that's the thing that unifies a lot of people in the space. And so something that we're trying to tackle with Degods coming up is that, we could do, and people have been asking us to do like a female collection, and that's just like a female collection. But to me, that's not the ethos of Web3. What I think is way more important is we're going to take the time and the effort to make 2 versions of all the Degods that we have. And we're going to have a guy version and a girl version. And you're going to be able to swap between them. So it'll still be one NFT, still be a 10,000 supply. But if you're a guy, you can keep it as the guy one. If you're a girl, you can switch it to the girl version. The rarity stays the same. So that way, you don't have this problem that a lot of collections have, where because there's just actually literally less women than men in the Web3 space, the women NFTs tend to sit on the floor, right, of a collection as guys and girls. People of color tend to sit on the floor. To me, these are like actual problems. And I think we can solve them in a creative way. But I think we're not going to win any Twitter brownie points by just like making a post, like the black squares on Instagram type of thing where it's like, oh, yeah, we support women. Because I feel like that's a little bit, and again, this might be controversial. I might get shit, but I just feel like that's not cool. And I think so much of what drives what we do with Degods and Utes is how do we make it cool to be a part of our community? And if we want to attract not just like girls, but like really incredible women to our community, I think we can't play the pandering card, and we have to just take the time to do it right. And in the meantime, yeah, the Degods are fucking big Chad dudes with a bunch of muscles. Okay, I get it. We're going after a certain demographic early days.
Wait, what's wrong with that?
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with being strong and muscular and, a man. But at the same time, I think we've grown obviously a lot as a community. And so we definitely started with a clear early niche and base. But I think we just want to do it in a smart way. And I'm down to take the bullets in the meantime, as long as it means that we do it right at the end of the day. Because, yeah, it's just I think that there is a lack of people just taking a practical take on this. Like, yes, this is a hobby that there are definitely way more men than women in the space. But just obsessing over fucking ratio counts at parties is definitely not going to solve the problem. Like, that is not, that's why my main tweet on it was, bro, like, if you're going to a Degods party to get laid, if that's like why you're going, dude, you're missing the point. Like, people were networking upstairs, people were making connections, people were having a good time. Like, that was way more of the focus than like what the fucking ratio was at the party. And that's just those side things that people obsess over that doesn't actually solve the problem. So yeah,
and
sorry.
I don't think there's anything wrong with the community that you built. Like, that's like me going to a World of Women party and expecting there to be, a 50-50 ratio of men towards women. It's not
exactly.
But what I do think is that, some of these projects could work together. Like, for example, maybe next time you could team up with a all-female-led project and kind of maybe balance out that ratio that way, bringing 2 communities together. That's just a thought that I keep.
I need recommendations there, Jess, because part of it too is like, I talked to Alan Carroll yesterday. He like makes a lot of memes, and it was funny because I'll tell you how this relates. He was like, the worst thing that a company could do is like force a meme, because you might as well just not post the meme if it's like a shitty meme. You should only post it if it's good. And in the same way I feel with this, where, I do care about making sure that, our community, and I'll say this is actually the best way to put it, financially, like, let's just forget about the holistic virtues, all that stuff. Financially, there's a lot of girls and a lot of guys in the world, and I want both girls and guys to buy Degods, no matter how expensive they get, right? Let's just make it pure financial, simple as it gets. So I want to expand our market. And the thing is, I just don't want to do it in a way that we force it, right? So we got to find the right community to do it with. If it's a female-led community, I don't want to just do any female-led community. Let's just to check it off the checklist, right? Let's find the right one to do it with. And if it makes sense and it's organic and authentic, dude, I would love to do that, but it's been a challenge, honestly. And that's another criticism of the space, but it's something that the market will solve, I think, over time. But yeah, we just need to surface more stronger, female-led communities and projects. And I think that's something that's exciting.
I love that. I love that. So we'll be looking forward to the Degoddesses, I take it, or
Yeah,
whatever.
season 3, book it.
Those
It's gonna
exist
be
already,
the
don't
best
they?
female PFP. It's a hard bar,
Yeah.
but we're working pretty hard on it. And yeah, that's the goal, man. I want girls deserve fire because guys get to LARP a little bit. You get your big Chad Degod, and it's classy, right? It's not like totally bulked out. It's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but the dude is toned, right? And so I think it's similar with girls, where I think people want to represent an aesthetic version of themselves on the internet, or an exaggerated version of themselves. They don't want to just get exactly who they are, and that's just like society, right? Everyone wants an aesthetic version of themselves for a PFP. That's why all these AI filters are going crazy right now on TikTok. So I think that's our take on the female PFP, is like, how do we do it in a classy way? But of course, you still want the girl to be like good looking. You want it to be aesthetic, because women want to. I talk to Eden about this all the time. It's like, that's a big thing that stops a lot of girls from using certain girl PFPs, is like, you might just get more engagement using your face because you're, just because there's not a lot of girls in the space. So it's these little problems that I'm like, okay, how do we solve this, but do it in a smart way where it's obviously just very authentic and genuine, and not trying to obviously like objectify or do any of the lame shit. Like, we want cool girls in the community, just like I want cool guys in the community. I don't want anybody else, like only cool people. That's it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you need to let it fit in with the community that you've already created. And there's nothing wrong that if it's majority male, like there's nothing wrong with that. That's the community that's came together, and everybody can be a part of the community if they want to. Go ahead, Joey, and then extend.
Last thing, I just appreciate having a nuanced talk on this, because if I try to do this on Twitter replies, I'm just getting ratio. It's gonna be bad. So I love the spaces, love crypto and coffee, love that we can have like an in-depth conversation on this, because it's important, but it's hard to have the discussion.
Well, what you said on the Degods changing to females, I worked in development on a lot of MMOs, and that's actually what everybody honestly should be looking towards doing. Like what you just said is like the alpha, actually. And I've seen countless of interactions and social experiments where people have done this online already. So yeah, you're already barking down the right tree.
Great points. Extani, what's going on? Good morning. I hope I said that.
Good morning. It's Zintani, but very much closer than most people get it. I think it's a huge problem. Like last night, so ETH Denver is going on, and I live here, and I was invited to a bunch of parties, but every single one of them was like a complete sausage fest. So last night, like I was all ready to go. I was like, I'm going to party hop. And then I realized, like, wait, I might be the only girl showing up. And then I took my makeup off and went to bed. Luckily, I have friends, like girlfriends flying in tonight. So we're going out tonight. But I think it's a problem in that, like, if you don't have girls, then you don't bring girls. Like that's the dilemma.
Yeah, I agree with that. Totally agree with that.
Because I don't think anyone, I mean, maybe, so, but no one wants to be like the only, I don't know.
I love this.
It's
a
kind of
great
weird.
union. This happened. I love it.
Glad we could all come to agreement here.
I think Aristotle said that once. He was like, if you don't have girls, it's hard to get girls. Like it's I think that was Aristotle.
What?
Legend.
Aristotle said that.
Cache, I see you came up. Did you have anything you wanted to chime in on?
Sure, thanks for calling on me, Jess. Actually, wanted to chime in on the topic about, mentioning as far as onboarding women into the guides and parties, and frankly, just had manage those dynamics appropriately. And I was thinking back to my time in college, which is a lot more years ago now than I wish, but like my junior year in college, I was in fraternity throughout, Greek America, in the city, had a great time. A lot of great friends, but great times. But the best parties that we had weren't, just like the parties we threw and, try to let all the girls in the door and fill up with all the women and let, random dudes outside. Those were not the best parties we had. The best parties that we had were like, I wouldn't even say it was a quite formal party, but really just people brought their friends, and it wasn't like structured, and more particularly, it was guys that aren't in the fraternity come on in, women that are friends with women that aren't in the fraternity obviously come on in, and it's just like way more dynamic. And I don't know, I feel like there's another aspect also. Excuse me, junior year, as far as our social chair who would schedule mixers with sororities on campus, and we had an amazing relationship built with all the sororities on campus by choosing someone to represent us as social chair that was extremely communicative, frankly, and someone who was not intimidating and not the kind of person that would scare off women from wanting to drink and party with us. So our social chair happened to be a gay man, which I mean, all the kind of stereotypes that you think about as far as American fraternities and those dynamics, and society, social issues, etc. That proved to be a leading edge for us in the area. That kind of diversity was very important to a lot of the positive experiences I think back and reflect on in college.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I kind of do see like NFT communities, like different fraternities or sororities in their own way. I don't know.
I totally agree with this thesis. And again, I've had like these counterculture theses for a while, but I mean, I think it's just continuing to grow in this direction where, look, there's a price point that NFTs will get to where it becomes, you basically just have a different buyer group, right? So I think like right now with Degods, it's like $10,000. Not a lot of people have $10,000 in discretionary, like funds. So when I'm thinking about growth for our project, it's like you got to find a lane. And to me, I mean, it might sound silly, but I think that there is an infinite amount of people on the planet that would pay a lot of money to recreate their glory days of being in a frat or sorority and do it in a classier way as an adult. Again, this sounds silly today, but I think that that is a market that, can sustain an NFT that costs a lot of money because like right now, for example, in New York, what we did is, I think a frat might do this or a sorority might do this. Like, I don't know if this is exactly what they do, but we basically bulk purchased, 2 floors of the public hotel in New York and then marked it up, I think like only by $100 or $200. And then basically sold hotel rooms to our community for people that are going to NFT New York because they're going to get a hotel room anyway. So might as well just do it together. We're all going to be like roommates, like knock on each other's doors, rip the robe, fucking play 2K, who knows? But I think it's like stuff like this where this is going to be a magical experience, I know, for our holders in our community. And I feel like this lane that we're going in, it's not for every single holder. And that's what people are missing. It's like IRL stuff shouldn't be the only thing that your project is doing. But for people that are really diehard or really into the community and want to meet other people and want to get to know each other and experience what you guys are describing is like that fraternity, sorority type of like lifestyle again, I think it's a huge utility and a value add that it's really hard to find anywhere else. And that's what's my thesis on NFTs is people think it's going to disrupt all the stuff that exists. I think it's more about what are the new experiences that can be created that are not possible without NFTs. And so, yeah, stuff like that is actually, I think, a pretty valuable part of the market that people make fun of a lot, but it's real.
I can't wait to see the viral footage from that event.
Oh, it's good. Let's just say people might be getting a custom shoe, in their welcome package, and yeah, it should be fun.
Wait, is that alpha?
Well, because if you guys go to conferences, I think about it. I'm always trying to just problem solve for like these things that I think most people look at as small things, but for people that are really in the space, they realize how big it is. And I've been to enough conferences now to know you spend most of your time in Ubers fucking messaging people like, where's the next thing? What's the next thing at? And you're looking for your group. And it's like one guy got the Airbnb, he's far away. So you got to go figure out a link with them. And so I think like just fucking being together in like a block in a hotel, it solves like a lot of problems for a conference. And so, yeah, maybe other collections are going to start doing this too. But I think it's
you got to take Yellow Cab in New York.
I actually pitched an NFT hotel to somebody that actually came to have coffee with me 2 weeks ago.
There we go. Great minds think alike, right?
I love every single thing that you say about like the data that you look at because I'm looking at the same thing, I think.
It's just like common sense shit, right? It's like, what can you tell your friends is going to get them hyped? It's like, yo, we're going to this conference. we all bought like a floor together and we're just gonna be staying. Like, that's just wild. Like, that's just fun. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. You know, it's an experiment for sure, but we'll see how it goes. It should be cool. The other thing is, like, I think a lot of people in our community are older, so they all have like fucking wives, right? And so I think that it's part of that thing where people are flooding the girls that I think a lot of guys, especially when you have like, you know, been married for 5-10 years, you kind of are hyped about boys night. So we'll see what the ratio is for the hotel rooms. But I think it's going to be fun no matter what, regardless.
Bro, I've been married 25 years in April, and I showed my wife the video because I wanted to go, and she goes, "You're fucking not going. That's bullshit." So she didn't believe it. I said, "Look, it's all dudes." She didn't want to believe it, and she didn't want to go. But I definitely got to make it to the next one.
That's interesting. Both people have a different story. They're like, I show my wife the video of the worm, and she's like, "Okay, you're allowed to go to any Degods event now for sure." Yeah, I'm not worried about it. You're good to go.
Hope all the DGOD holders are practicing their worms. We would like to see a better worm.
I mean, it's a free 2.5 million views. Like, okay, I mean, fuck, I'll do the fucking worm for 2.5 mil views. I mean, I'm not above the worm.
But yeah, thanks, Frank, for... I know I saw some comments. Hey, I was not complaining about the women thing. We're just having a discussion.
No, I get it. The market is nuking. We're macroeconomic recession. The most important thing is to debate the DGOD's party ratio. I totally agree.
Because what else do you talk about, right?
We need more women.
And I can say this because
we need girlies.
And like I said before, like I think that narrative is a narrative. There's a lot of women here. Are we active participants in all these conferences? I'm not there. Why? Because maybe it's just like the psychological part of it, because I've already seen all the videos and I see a bunch of dudes there. You know, I'm in a long-term relationship. If I show that video to my boyfriend, he's going to be like, "You're not fucking going to that conference," you know? So I have the opposite view. And probably something he wouldn't want to participate in. He is a little bit older. So I just think, you know, different strokes for different folks. And it is what it is. I don't know.
I agree. And you know what, watching it, I just saw a bunch of dudes having a really good time, and that's fine. Just like, let people be, let them have their fun. And like Frank said, it's a short clip. I mean, guys, we see this done on TV all the time and in the media. They give you short clips because they want to push that narrative. So just let people have a good time. Who cares? And I know I can probably speak for Jess because I think we're very similar with this. You know, it's just an open discussion, and I appreciate Frank being open and honest about it. And, you know, it is nice to have women in the space, but that's not everything to focus on either. So it's just working together, like Jess said.
Can I just chime in on that one really quick thing? I think the overarching theme regarding, you know, bringing women into Web3 and the spaces that you see going on, it feels like we need men to do us a favor, to some of us. And that's actually not the case. You know, we don't need men to bring us into Web3. We're here. And I just think a lot of women are in the shadows because they go into a space and it's overrun by men. So.
But hey, that's why you start out your own space, you know, and I've had some of those challenges. Hey, if it wants to be a bunch of guys on their stage, oh well, like I'll just start my own space and do my own thing. But what I'm not going to do is box myself into, you know, women and coffee type of shit. Like, you know, it's crypto and coffee, and whoever wants to come can come. Like, go ahead, In Motion.
Yeah, I was just going to say, where there is a tremendous lack in women is the back-end engineering portion of all of this stuff. It's predominantly male-dominated, and that kind of stuff needs to change. And also the content creation area, where a lot of women's voices are just lacking. Like, it's all dudes creating stories and kind of, you know, pretending to tell women's point of views. Where it would be interesting to have like more female creators tell, you know, their thoughts and that kind of stuff.
Thanks, Emotion. Victoria, and then Johnny and Extani.
Hey, Jess. Hey, Frank. I actually saw you in Paris, and I thought, you know, after the party, you were receiving unfair treatment because at the grand finale party, There were not enough women either, but nobody was talking about, and forget about the VIP section. Like, I think there were like maybe 3 women. I haven't even seen them. I hope there were 3 women at least in there, because most of it was dudes. And from everybody, like, and I didn't like the fact that, you got attacked just because there was the ratio female male ratio was not there. For me, the bigger indicator of success of Degods, I'm not a holder, I wish I was. It was the fact that you guys had bunch of dudes all around Paris wearing Degods and Youths hoodies. And each time I would say like, yo, like, I don't see any other project except Degods and Youths in Paris. And each time I would say, yo, Degods, like, so I found that you got, I thought you were getting unfair treatment just because of, like, haters will find a way to hate, so haters will hate. So yeah, it's it's not
I remember meeting you, Victoria. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
I think it's part of the game, though. You know how it is. It's like,
I don't think it's Degods' problem. I think it's a
shit.
Web3 general problem, but you getting the unfair treatment in the space. So I thought that was unfair. Yeah, it was really nice meeting you as well. One of the reasons actually when I saw you were coming, I was like, yeah, I think I'm gonna go finally, because I was not really up for it in the beginning. So it's super happy meeting you.
Absolute pleasure. Hey guys, I have to head out right now. This has been awesome. I gotta come to Crypto and Coffee more often. Thank you guys. So the great discussion. It was really cool. Appreciate it. Peace, guys.
We'd love to have you back. Thanks for stopping by, Frank. All right, that was impromptu. We appreciate that. Yeah, I figured I'd bring that up because I did FUD a little bit on the timeline. And again, I FUDed at the comments from the community, not at the actual show. I was like, stop saying that there's not women in Web3. We're here. We just, we need a little nudge to maybe attend these events and things like that. So maybe we gotta, do a better effort of attending these things. But go ahead, Sintani, and then Johnny and Ahmed. I'm sorry, I don't know who was next. Sorry.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think like saying like women in coffee or like shit like that would bring women in. I think it would scare them away. I don't think that's the way to do it. But then on the other hand, I do kind of think that it is I have no idea the situation of like Frank. I think Frank's awesome. So if people are shitting on him, that's not cool. But I do think there is like a bit of a responsibility on the big creators in the space to create an environment that welcomes women. I think that's fair.
Yeah, completely agree. Go ahead, Johnny, and then Ahmed.
Can I ask my Landex questions now? I'm just kidding. I think it's really cool. Like, I hadn't even followed Youths or Degods at all until those videos went around, and I kind of looked into it. And now I'm kind of exposed to it, and it's cool. Like, it just gained attention. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. But what is interesting to me, I think the future of like NFTs is creating these kind of groups. Like, people used to do like the Freemasons and go to church and join the Kiwanis Club, and people don't do that anymore. And humans need that connection. So it's like seeing those people having fun, especially like after all the COVID and all this stuff. It's like, I think it's a great positive thing that the NFT space should try to associate itself with. It's just like, we're part of this group, just like people used to be part of a church, and like,
hell yeah, let's make a cult.
Bring people together. Yeah, that's my concern though, is like that Frank turns into some crazy documentary special. But there's something to that. I think there's something really important to that. And especially when there's all this like division and stuff, like something that brings people together in a positive way who wouldn't otherwise be together, so that they can actually talk and understand each other. That's like the most needed solution in the world right now. So if NFTs can do that, great.
We need a common enemy.
Yeah, I think I've said that to your point. Like, crypto to me is just a cult with a bunch of subcults within. Everybody's a maxi of whatever they want to be, and then NFT, that's a whole another story. But go ahead, Ahmed. But great points, Johnny. I totally agree with you.
I was just going to touch base on two things, some alpha, but I'm in marketing and BD, so I data scrape for a living to perfect strategies for that most part. And believe it or not, something I've been working on for 12 months is data scraping like audiences with women in the Web3 space. And in the past 6 months, won't go into it too much, we have a better success rate with reaction to women in Web3 space when it does come down to their content output alongside their Twitter spaces. I just want to mention that. It is a private data scrape that I'm mentioning here. And second to that, I think a lot of the aspect of more men in the space than women is really, in retrospect, all about how these products, DeFi, NFTs, platforms are marketing. They're not doing an incredible job at, creating this unison audience and are going after, specific niche, specific audience just because that's what's a semi-standard that was established. And I think that's where a lot of the flaw lies into, is, the go-to.
But is that a flaw or could that be a benefit? I see that as a benefit.
I think that lines up with Zintani. Like what she just said is exactly what that relays.
I think that when we're trying to curate a campaign towards a demographic and a geographic, that's one thing. When you're trying to curate a campaign towards sex is another. And that's kind of like my 2 cents on that, is that it can be a benefit, but it's a very, very big double-edged sword that you're kind of messing around with. So that's my opinion.
I see a lot of thumbs down from Dow. Dow, what are you thinking?
I was just waiting for this conversation to be over. I don't understand the issue. It's code by nerds who don't even know each other half of the time, don't know what they look like, the color, don't even know their voice. Most of the people in the space that are building the space are anonymous. We don't even know where they are. Most of the time, they use vocoder to talk to each other. It is the one place in the world where we can actually forget about identity politics, but people want to keep bringing this thing back everywhere they go. So I don't get it.
It's when you see it in IRL, I guess it kind of detaches from that. But yeah, great points all around. We'll go to let's go to Victoria and then Nico, and then we are going to move along.
Yeah, I totally agree. When you meet in IRL, it was my first conference, like the connections, you really enforce those connections and make them stronger. You meet on Twitter Spaces, and then in real life, it's completely different. You're super happy to meet each other face to face. That was amazing. I wanted to make a point regarding women and what women needs, what she needs to feel in order for her to come to the space and stay in the space. I think one of the big factors is feeling safe, that, learning about this space and knowing that she's not making mistakes, she's not going to get scammed, finding a tribe where she can people that she can trust and ask questions. And sometimes, women are afraid to ask dumb questions, and having that place where she can ask any question, that kind of things, I think, are necessary to create for women to come in the space. And that's why I find I remember at the conference when I saw women, there were not a lot, but when I would see, you would kind of saying hi to each other with eyes. And sometimes we would even give each other, strangers, high fives and things like that, because, that support from woman to woman, I find that is so important. Of course, it's great when everybody supports each other, but I find the feeling of safety in the space, it's super important for a woman.
Great point. Go ahead, Nico.
So I've decided that after the Landex presentation, I'm going to start a goat cheese farm. And yeah, that's about it, because I want to stay away. I'm trying to just lighten the mood and get away from this conversation altogether.
Yeah, I'm ready to move on from it as well. Yeah, I'm always kind of maybe it's because I, grew up with 2 brothers, but I'm always very cautious about pushing that complete, women in Web3 narrative. I want to be a part of Web3, period. I don't need to be bucketed into this space. And with that, yeah, let's move it along. Let's go back to crypto and coffee. It was great to have Frank here. But yeah, Leo, did you want to chime in? Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm good.
I do.
Sorry. No, you're good. We can move on. It wasn't anything big. We're good.
Sorry, Nerd, I do see you had your hand up. Did you want to chime in on something?
Yeah, Net Trippers. Yeah, so I just want to let you guys know that obviously don't want to chime in when you guys are ending here, but the founder of our project, the co-founder, is a woman. So I just really love.
I've been rugged by many women in this space as well. Like,
Exactly.
I think we need to stop pushing that, oh, because she's a woman, I should buy it. No, tell me about your project.
No. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying that. It's just cool to see founders that are women. I really don't see that very often. And she's together with Nick, which is the other co-founder. They've been working together for 10 years. But yeah, our project is minting right now, guys.
No, this is not a show space. Sorry.
Bad, very bad.
But yeah, that you see, that is like that's not a utility, having a woman as a founder. Yeah, it's good that there's a woman founder, but that shouldn't be used as a marketing. To me, that's a marketing tactic. Come up here, tell me about your project. It doesn't matter, tell me about the founder. It doesn't matter what their sex is. But yeah, definitely not a show space. So sorry, nerd.
Yeah, no, for sure. They didn't want to come off like that at all, But yeah.
Didn't want to come off like that. Our project's minting right now.
Oh my god.
Fucking dead.
That has to, yeah. This is not a shill space, but yeah, good try. Maybe next time. But yeah, so we talked about Solana going down, ETH account abstraction, Silvergate. What else happened? NFT sales surged to 2 billion in February. What else do we have here? I think
that was just farming, though. They were just farming the Blur token.
Walmart's doing NFTs, and they have been doing NFTs as like trading cards, I guess. I just saw that like last week. I don't know if anybody else has saw that.
I didn't see that, but there was something that I did want to bring up since we were talking about like account abstraction. This isn't completely in there, but not sure if you guys heard about that Oasis protocol. Apparently, and anybody correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going off the top of my head. Oasis protocol, DeFi protocol, controlled by a multi-sig. Apparently, there was some type of court order to try to retrieve stolen funds, and they worked with Jump, which you guys know, Jump Crypto. They're big in the Solana ecosystem. So Oasis worked with Jump Crypto to retrieve those funds from the protocol. So a court order was able to make Oasis protocol sign the multi-sig so Jump can come in and take the funds back. And what is the guy, Dal, that Daniel hates or that you don't like? Chris Black, what's his name?
Oh, Chris Black.
Yeah, he was the one that was going off about it, basically saying, is any protocol DeFi protocol that's controlled by a multi-sig, is it really DeFi if it can be controlled by a court order? There's people behind it.
Yeah, we don't hate him. He's just been hating on the space since 2019. Has been saying the same thing. He has some great points, right? Like, there's definitely a lot of, I would say, decentralization theater. But every time he speaks, he was always talking like it's the end of the world, everything's going down. And no, there's best practices. There's some best practices that we're missing, and you should point to them. And he's right to do that, but you should paint the whole space with the same brush.
Yeah. So whenever we give those people like clout, make sure you definitely tell us that, like, we don't like his views, but he brings up a good controversial point. Because like I was already thinking, like, I was about to look him up and be like, oh, what is he thinking about?
So, could I comment on Oasis? Because I've been following Oasis for a long time. Oasis is a very, very, very complex protocol. They're working on complete
I can't hear somebody, I don't think. Is someone talking?
Yeah, Nico's talking.
Leave and come back, whoever can't hear.
So, what they're working on is being able to read smart contracts without being able to read smart contracts. It's very, very hard to even explain this concept. And they're working with Facebook. So I already knew that they were a centralized entity from the get-go. So, that's a very, very extremely complex project. It's not, I don't even think it might even be its own blockchain, but I don't think so. It's something built on top of Ethereum. And it's my friend told me about it. My friend from school, he's been in it for God knows how long. And the way he explained it to me, because I was trying to figure out how in the world, actually one of your guests actually explained it to me too. he actually put a light on the subject for me. The way they want smart contracts to be written is so that they can be read in a certain way. It would all be in strings, pretty much, and they would extrapolate the data. Like, it would be so small that they're just looking for what you clicked on, and they'll be able to figure out exactly what you did. And it's not necessarily private, but nobody will really know who you are until you did something that somebody's going to be looking for you for. That's pretty much the way I see that technology. And I don't know where this would sit in the space. This gets extremely political for a lot of people with a project like this. So I don't know what to, from here on, I don't know what to say. It depends on what people's opinions are, what I just said.
You kind of lost me with that. But what I did want to say, or kind of comment on about Jump Crypto, who is behind this Jump Crypto? They're all over the place. They're helping retrieve all these stolen funds. They obviously have a big play in Solana. They recently also are starting an incubator with Chili's, not Chili's the restaurant, but Chili's the token, and now blockchain, which is for fan tokens and things like that. So does anybody know who is behind Jump Crypto? And all of a sudden they're making all these splashes behind the scene. They even helped with something with a Binance hack recently. I don't know.
I think the VCs and VCs have a Rolodex of connections of founders and capital, so they can make moves behind closed doors. But to get back to Oasis, I think it does raise the issue of best practices. And when you talk about multi-sig wallet, there are projects, right? I'm not trying to put foot on anybody, but for example, Polygon till this day has a multi-sig between, I think, 5 of the developers, right? So there are some issues in the industry. The problem is when we say it's all scam and we don't separate those actually trying to do the right thing, let's say Uniswap, for example, or Aave, and then we put them in the same bag, then it's really hard for people to understand that there are strong and significant differences where some projects are actually trying to do, for example, audits. Every time they change code, they will do an audit, and then some projects you should do an audit for the first month, right? Just to say they did it, but then they change their code and never do an audit. So there's a bunch of best practices that I think most of the space don't follow, and we know that they should do it, but there's no consequence because most users can't tell the difference. So that is an issue in the space, and for Oasis to be able to do that, I don't know too much about the protocol, but that's madly dangerous. That someone can ask them to reverse the phone somehow. I hope most protocols don't do that.
Yeah, from what I read, they basically, they didn't actually revert the funds, but they had to work with Jump to be able to hack the funds from the hacker who originally hacked the funds, if that makes any sense. It's a circle jerk of hacking, basically.
Oasis is a very, very complicated project.
Solana money?
But I mean, it still doesn't matter. At the end of the day, the exploit was just done based on the fact that they have a multi-sig. That's the whole point. Go ahead, Leo.
No, I was saying, I wonder if they'll get hired to retrieve some of that Solana money.
Yeah, why did they target this? Whoever they got the money back from, why?
That? It was from the wormhole attack. There, I remember. Remember the wormhole attack?
I do.
Yeah.
I think it just speaks to what their capabilities are and what they can do in the future. And I'm just seeing a lot of things right now that are making me really concerned about the future of our whole space, to be honest. Gensler yesterday saying he's not even sure that exchanges are qualified custodians of funds. He's doing a lot of really sneaky shit. So I think CZ knows that Gensler, is on a mission to take down exchanges.
Oh my God, you heard CZ this morning. If you didn't go back and play it, he was not having it. He was going off about people using the term offshore, and this is just an observation. Like, I don't know, have you guys noticed that Brian Armstrong this week has been paraded around as the new
Yes.
boy of crypto? Like,
Yes.
like, it's just very, very strange. Like, Bloomberg has just been pumping him up to us all week. And yeah, I just find that very interesting. Like, he's the new poster boy now.
Exactly. You're 100% correct. That was one of the things that factored into my being concerned. I really think Coinbase has just folded to the SEC or whoever's going to be regulating.
And didn't they say too with Coinbase, aren't they delisting BNB?
Yes.
BUSD.
Or BUSD.
Oh, BUSD. I'm sorry. Yes.
I mean, they called BUSD a security. They're going after Paxos, and Paxos. Well, didn't Dow talk about this the other day? No.
Yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, they're going after Paxos, but Paxos is, based out of New York, which has the strictest regulations. So who knows? Like, at this point, like, trying to make sense of what Gensler is doing is like nonsense. Another thing that CZ did mention in the chat this morning is that about the letter that Warren sent. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Elizabeth Warren, another nut job. I'm sorry if anybody likes her, but that she wrote a letter to Binance, and he was like, yeah, it's all based upon like just the Reuters FUD, but they are going to take time and respond back to it just out of courtesy. But yeah, that's happening as well.
Also, there's several states now. I watched, I don't know if you guys watch Paul Barron Network. He has pretty good, I think, he's not too scammy, clickbaity type or whatever, but he's super knowledgeable. And he pulled up this map on his YouTube yesterday, which was showing the states that are trying to put in place requiring a license to trade crypto. And I happen to be in one of those states. I don't know if it's just pertaining to crypto, but they're trying to put some legislation through for licenses. So that's really concerning. There's a lot of concerning things.
So how does this affect DeFi exchanges, if it affects them at all?
It's a good question. I don't know. Like,
how could it possibly?
They can blacklisting people.
So one of the reasons I'm a huge proponent of Ethereum level 2 stuff, and there's a lot of DeFi exchanges being built right now that I think are there for the sole purpose of avoiding this kind of nonsense. Because centralized exchanges, while they have a right to exist, they should be heavily regulated because they are not what this space is built for.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, CZ was going on. The reason I brought up Brian Armstrong, because CZ was going off about them using the term offshore. Like, oh, if it's offshore, it's bad. And it's like, I don't know. I'm looking for where to move to. Like,
100%. Yeah.
I always wanted to go to the Bahamas and live there. And now that has like a bad taste because of SBF. So it's like, I don't know.
You're going to need to torch that whole island.
The Bahamas is awesome. Well, I love it there.
That's what kills me though about the whole offshore thing, because in the business that we're in, or the business that we own, my husband and I, we do things with offshore as well. And what people need to realize, that isn't a bad thing. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Will there be bad actors? Yes, but you have to repatriatize, however you say that, the money when it comes back to the U.S. anyway. So it's ridiculous. And you know what? The government actually tried to go after our type of business for what we do with the offshore. But when you bring it back to the U.S., it's all handled. It's all taken care of. You pay your taxes, you're good to go. So I don't know. I just think it gets a bad rap.
I think the SEC, U.S. government is like shooting themselves in the foot with so many of these things. I made a joke on the comments earlier about, all the Americans looking at these foreigners coming in and fractionalizing U.S. land. But do they realize they're not letting Americans invest in fractionalizing land, but foreigners are just, and I don't have, I don't have an issue with foreigners. It's not about, being racist or some shit like that. But like literally, I don't think they're accomplishing what they're trying to accomplish here. It's just crazy. They're not familiar with a lot of the things going on.
100%. I mean, the rate of Russian and Chinese billionaires buying up shit in the States is absolutely absurd. And
dude, we got Australians.
Yeah,
too.
Australians. I mean, like this is all like the kind of shit that regular people aren't even involved in, because this is in the sphere of like the 1%ers.
Yeah, in their effort to assert control, they're shooting themselves in the foot. So hopefully it comes back to bite them eventually.
We'll see what happens. Should be interesting the next couple of weeks, how everything plays out. It looks like they're just sending, I was just seeing they sent something to Robinhood. They want information from everybody. So we'll see how it plays out. But yeah, anything
they're
else?
forcing people to go more underground. Like, we're not leaving crypto, right? Just because they say some shit, like none of us are going to stop dealing with crypto unless we just literally have no access to it, which just forces people underground. It's like what they did with alcohol, what they did with marijuana. They're doing the same shit with crypto, but it's a little bit more serious because it threatens their whole financial system.
Yeah, we're going to have to go back to Silk Road to fucking buy Bitcoin if things keep up the way that they are. It's sad.
You know, I just found out that he got life in prison.
Who
That's crazy. The guy that built Silk Road.
Yep. Yeah.
He got life in prison. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was more than just crypto. So, there's other things there.
Yeah. In the conversation earlier, they were talking about the Mount Gox thing. People are going to get their Bitcoin back, so people are speculating a potential dump. But when you look at it in the big picture, the percentage of Bitcoin that's being released compared to the total supply is definitely minimal.
They had to wait for a long time. I can only imagine. Like, how long was it? Like 8 more years or something like that?
8 years?
What are they sitting on dollar Bitcoin? Maybe like $10? Oh my god!
So imagine like how much. That's like a mandatory hodl. But how much? Do you know how much percentage they're getting back? I didn't read the article.
No, I have no idea. I wish I knew.
9 years. 9 years after the Mt. Gox victims are about to get some of their Bitcoin back. So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, guys, it's been a great conversation. I actually am going to end it earlier. I have some things to do. We chatted with Landex Finance. We had Frank stop by. So if you want to go back and listen, it'll be available once we finish it off. Thank you to all the speakers for joining and contributing, and all the listeners. But I'm going to throw it over to Dow. Dow, anything coming up this week and or next week that maybe we should be on the lookout for?
Yeah, next Wednesday we'll hopefully get Hector, Brian, maybe Chris Black. Not sure 100%, but like all the DeFi skeptics, non-believers or haters. I mean, there are differences between them, but just to hear them out, just to hear their argument.
Are you serious? That's going to be great.
I want to hear it, man. I definitely think that we don't want to live in an echo chamber, so it's good to hear from different perspective and give them the space to relay out their argument. And
is this going to be a steel cage match?
Yeah, some gloves. There'll be gloves and some.
We're gonna fall 16 feet through an announcer's table.
Yeah, don't touch their eyes.
A Royal Rumble. You should just do a Royal Rumble, bro. That's it. Just let people come in, throw people out, stuff like that.
This is gonna be great.
Yeah, I'm totally looking forward to that.
Yeah, great convo as always. I just, in my personal opinion, there's some topics that we have a great space. Crypto is amazing for a lot of people, so I feel we have sometimes we forget the positive that are in the space and things that we can do that we can't do in other industries. So I just want to say that.
Great points. Tammy, what about you? Anything interesting you got cooking up this weekend?
Nothing for this weekend. Actually, we're supposed to get some nasty weather today, so I don't know what is happening. We've thought about doing some stuff, but I don't know. It's coming this direction. We'll see. We took our snow sticks out, but I think we're going to be in trouble with doing that now. Who knows? Maybe it'll miss us. It'll just be rain. But just wanted to say I enjoyed the space today, and hearing from Landex that I love what they're doing, and that was some great information. And hopefully maybe they'll make their way over here to the US. That would be great.
Or we move.
Or we move. Yeah, exactly.
I think that's more likely.
Let's go.
Right. I know this place.
Crypto Island. Let's go.
Yes. We'll all become D-goddesses on Crypto Island, and have parties where we dance and try and do the worm. But I really appreciate everybody that came up to speak, and everybody that comes here every week. It's just amazing, and couldn't do it without everybody. And appreciate Jess for hosting this space every week, because honestly, it even forces me to go back in through the week and try and see what's happened, maybe what I've missed. So I've learned the most from Crypto and Coffee, for sure. We have great people that come up here to talk, and obviously Dow with his knowledge and Motion, Nico, all of you guys, Active, everybody. You guys are just great. So I appreciate you. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend.
Yeah. And likewise, thank you guys very much. And yeah, I'll be back Wednesday night for Espresso Hour with Val, and then we'll be back here next Friday we'll be talking wallet security with TBD. I don't remember off the top of my head, but thank you guys. Have a great weekend and be safe. And I'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, Jess. Bye, everybody.
Thanks.